Hey Axis and Allies players, the good captain here, and welcome to a review of round 9. Uh, Wait a minute. Yeah, a review of round 9 and the execution of the Austrian and German round 10 in this game of Axis and Allies 1914 played against a human opponent. Um, and this is, all the dice have been rolled. When I was cutting the video live, it went on for like 25 minutes or some bloody thing, and I was like, nah, I'll just reshoot this as a review. Because there's a lot going on and a lot that happened. And let me see if I can do this in a bit more of a brisk manner. So, the French purchased 12 infantry, is how we left it on the last video. And they reoccupy Belgium, of course. But they push Kiel, and this game is on its way out. And now that the cat is completely out of the bag, I'll just be completely transparent. Among the two options that I thought were worst case scenario for the French moves as being the CP player was one, this move into Kiel, that dooms Berlin, of course. The other was that the army, or at least part of it, tails the German army into Picardy, which would put the gambit that I'm about to employ as the Germans at or near 0.01%. But I don't think it might not move the dial, uh, that much further. Uh, so it might be a difference in kind and nothing else. So yeah, the Kiel battle does not go well for the CP, and this was also part of. I was not planning to score -3 on the CP roll. I really, really, really wanted -7, something par or God forbid better, slightly better than par. But we didn't. We scored -3, and so the Germans only lost, or the French only lost 3 infantry instead of 6, and that's critical. I'll show you why here in a moment. Okay, then they placed 12 in Paris, so the defense of Paris is stacking up quite high already. The British purchased 13 infantry and 2 artillery. Their combat move is interesting in a couple of ways. One, they ram a transport through into Sea Zone 11, do not touch off a mine, and therefore seize Prussia. Combat, there was one in Albania. They amphibiously land 1 infantry, obviously to activate the battleship, which hits. The battleship hits, but the infantry misses. The rollback, both misses. So, not doing great in Kiel, not doing great in Albania. Death by 1,000 cuts. But then this Hanover thing it doesn't go anybody's way really. The British score like up 1 or 2 or 1.5 or something, and the Germans score up 1. So that's at least we kind of hit some parity here. We have a near peace swap, and that's the situation at the end of the British turn. The Ottomans, very boring, just a push east. Nothing happening here. The Italians, they make a move against Albania, and this is sort of a limitation of AAA. You have to tell the battleship not to bombard because legally, when you're playing 1914, no battleship is allowed to bombard in a contested zone. So the battleship hits, and my guy disappears, but because that was essentially not a legal move, I reached out to my opponent, rolled 2 dice for his Italian infantry. It turns out that they both miss. So at the end of the combat move, it says this is Italian. It's not. We will edit back in 1 Austrian and edit down the Italian IPCs by 2 here momentarily. The Americans, fairly boring turn. They stack up in Paris as they should, and then we move to round 10. So round 10, I have the Austrians purchase 3 fighters, 8 infantry, and an artillery all spent. And in the combat move, I basically hit everywhere all at once. I took over Kazakhstan. We're going to order an attack in Sevastopol. Obviously, we put this blocker in Albania. And then, yeah, we push towards Paris. We're trying to have, the Batman and Robin trying to go in after Paris here and get the Austrians involved. The other thing about the Italians, completely right move here. Move Piedmont. Absolutely. You want to protect the flank of the Paris capital, so no mistakes being made on the part of the Entente as expected. Then I pushed Hanover with 4 Austrian fighters, and here's what 4 at 3. Okay, 4 at 3, the attacker wins 78% of the time, and if you throw in the draw where there's no planes left, then it's 81% of the time. So this shouldn't really be much of an issue, but as you'll see, it will be. 19% of the time, yeah, absolutely the defender can win. That is not at all off the probability of expectations or what can happen in a game of Axis and Allies. But what ended up happening was a bit like kind of just a letdown in terms. I acknowledge that we're already on the way out, but to twist the blade or to add salt to the wound, the attacker fires, scores no hits. The defender gets 1 hit. The attacker fires again, scores no hits. The defender gets 1 hit. The attacker fires a third time, scores no hits. The defender scores 1 hit. The attacker fires its last and scores no hits. And then the British just bury the remainder. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dice where not a single 1 or 2 was rolled. So that's just it. They're gone. I think the dice gods have, at least at this point in the game, picked their favorite. So the Germans attack, or I'm sorry, the Austrians attack, and this is a little warm. Thank God. I think this is +1. And then this is a little, I think this is pretty much par. Yeah. So, no big deal there. I'll explain why that matters so much here in a moment. Battle in Burgundy is just a smash. The battle in Sevastopol, there's actually a peace swap. So, that's it. At the end of the turn, we place and we end up collecting 52 as the Austrians. So quite powerful, but also not long for this world. On the German side of the turn, we hit in Paris, and it basically goes right down the middle in terms of parity. I think the Germans score +1, which I feel very thankful for. Just hitting my numbers and at least being on 1 point on the right side. But at this piece count, it's sort of a shoulder shrug. And then the French and Americans hit right down the middle, 30 of 60. 30 of 60 at 3. So perfectly par there. And we place so now I'm going to go back to here's the current game board. I'm going to go back to Hanover here. If the air battle had been won, we would have likely cleared this territory, which would have secured the southern flank of Berlin. And the reason that's important actually is the fighters. The fighters are not bound by conventional rules as regards contested zones. They can fly anywhere at all times. This is very poorly indicated in the manual. It's very poorly indicated in the official errata and Q&A, but it is true. Okay, checked and verified by the lead game, one of the lead game designers and playtesters. So that's why I was trying to remove those pieces. There's actually a mid-30s% chance the French just take Berlin on their own, and if that happens, that's pretty much GG. However, if the dice gods see fit to deny the French the occupation of Berlin and deny those 28 IPCs that are in the German coffers, then the British get a whack. They have 9 infantry to throw, and now they have 3 fighters, and that's what I didn't want them to have. I didn't want them to have those additional pieces. So it does look like Berlin is going down this turn. As long as I can deny it to the French, I'd like to see how this plays out in Paris. Of course, what the Italians do, and how successful things are down here. We're not completely done rolling dice, okay? Some sort of crazy thing could still happen, but I'm 90% certain this is, maybe even greater than 90, like 95% certain this is an Entente win. Too many things we just couldn't catch on too many little key battles, and some are the medium-sized battles as well. So I I think that's it. I think I covered everything. I can see this Austrian needs to be touched up in Albania, so, and I need to adjust the IPC, so I'll do that off screen. Yeah, the keel battle was a disappointment, and this air battle was a disappointment. Those made this gambit, or are making this gambit, look much less interesting than it could have been. But you know, dice can be fickle still for the remainder of the game. So I'm hoping, if nothing else, there's some entertainment and fireworks. And I think that's it. Yeah, I'll just say GG here. I mean, not end game, but like, let's wrap up this video. Thanks for watching this. All the best from the good captain, and bye bye.